Hey guys, welcome back today. Today I'm going to talk to you about water storage in your overland vehicle. Now for the last 4 years I've been using this water tank built by Front Runner. It's about 10.5 gallons and it's been a really good water tank, but it's been in my Jeep Wrangler. And since now I'm going to be driving a Jeep Gladiator, I want a little bit more water storage when I need it. And I did some measurements and I figured out a tank that's going to work excellent for the Jeep Gladiator and give me all the capacity that I'm going to need. Now, this would also apply for other vehicles like your Toyotas, any kind of truck really this system will work for. And in the past, this 10.5 gallons was nice. It seemed like a lot of water. But when you start taking showers and doing dishes and different things around the campsite, it takes a lot more water than 10 if you're doing a family of any size. So the tank that I found for you guys is made by Valero. It's a 21-gallon tank, and one of the things I really like about it, it has baffles in the tank, which it cuts down on a lot of the sloshing of the water, which really becomes an issue whenever you're cornering or you're out on the trail and you're taking a lot of tight corners and stuff. The only problem with 21 gallons, it's 168 pounds of water, where the 10-gallon tank was about 85 pounds because it's about 10.5 gallons. So that's quite the weight difference in the vehicle. But whenever you allot for that, it's not that big a deal. And just because it's 21 gallons doesn't mean you have to keep it full. Whenever I'm around town, I don't run 21 gallons in. I only run a few gallons, 5 or 10 gallons or whatever I need. But if we get to campground and we want to top it off, or if we're going to be camping that night, we run by a water source, we can go ahead and top off our tank and have it up to the 21 gallons. So around camp, the water comes in really handy, especially 21 gallons of it. That's a lot of water, but it goes pretty quick. You have family members taking showers and everything. The 21 gallons will go by quick if they're not really watching the way that they're using the water. And on top of showers, you have drinking water, you have water to cook with, give the dogs a drink with, and more importantly, at the end of the night, putting out your campfire, making sure it doesn't burn and spread on during the night while you're asleep. So all those things are very good to have water for. I'm going to show you how I found this tank. I'm going to leave links in the description on the tank that I chose. And unfortunately, I shot this video the first time before I ever installed the tank, and I was able to walk you around that 21-gallon tank. Unfortunately, the video did not come out, and I didn't realize it didn't come out until I was ready to put this video together. So I'm reshooting this portion of the video now, but during the video, you'll see the tank, you'll see me put it inside the Jeep and the modifications we had to make to get it there. To protect the bottom of the water tank from the ridges of the bed, I cut a 1/4-inch piece of plywood to apply it to the bottom of the water tank so the water tank being plastic won't try to form to those ridges. After running all the wires through the cab, I used some pipe insulation to wrap around all the wiring to make sure it wouldn't rub against the surface of the bed. After cutting the board, I applied Raptor to it and laid it along the bottom of the bed in preparation for the water tank to sit on top. Now the next part of this is probably the most nerve-wracking part. You have to be really careful. You have to locate where you're going to put your holes because you only get one good shot at drilling these holes. You're going to want one at the very top of the tank, and that's where you're going to install your fill line. That's where the water will come in and fill the tank. Very low but below that line on the side, you'll need to drill a hole for your vent. That will be the vent that will allow the air out of the tank as it's being filled. And then at the very bottom of the tank, you will want to drill the hole, and that will be for the water line going to your pump. Now each of these are already cut out. They're just not drilled out, so you'll see a circle that you'll just have to drill out the remainder of the hole, and then it already has some threads in it, which makes it easy so you can go ahead and apply your hardware for the tank.
After carefully drilling out the holes, the next thing you'll want to do is make sure that all the plastic shavings are out of the tank. The easiest way I found to do this is to turn it upside down and kind of shake the remainder of the plastic shavings out. After that, I put water in the tank and again turned it upside down with the fill and allowed the remainder of the plastic shavings to come out. If you don't do this, whenever you hook up your water lines going to your tank, it's possible that it could clog the line. Using the kit that is sold separately, I use their cement to seal the water line fittings and everything to make sure that there wouldn't be a leak. You can apply the fittings and make sure they're snug. After that, give it about a day for the plastic to set up before attempting to put water through the tank. I waited a full day before the resin to set up with the plastic to make sure it was good and dry before I started putting the lines on. Once I started putting the lines on, I went ahead and used thread tape to give it a better seal on the lines. This worked out really well. Everything came together very easy. The hoses were a little bit snug to put on, but overall it wasn't bad. You can now see where the larger hose will be my fill line. The bottom hose will be the line going to the pump, and then the next smaller hose underneath the fill line will be my air line, which will let air out of the tank. Next, I installed the tank inside the truck. I put a rail above the tank for a shelf. It was one that you would use for like a utility shelf out of wire. I'd cut it up and painted it black to be able to store stuff above the tank, but not actually on the tank. I made it snug between the board that I had put down first and then that rail to make sure everything's protected. The trick was getting the hoses around that bottom rail of the shelf, but after some cutting, I was able to do that without any problem. Using a molly panel I had installed along the side of the bed, I mounted the water pump to that panel and I zip tied it with a large zip tie very tight on both the top and the bottom. I hooked up the water lines before doing that just to make it easier, and next it was time to wire the pump. purchased an aux beam switch system, which would allow me a spot on that to run the pump to it. I decided I was going to wire it that way and run everything off an auxiliary battery instead of my starter battery. This worked out really well. The wiring was very easy and it took very little time to complete. Next, I used some plastic to cut out a piece that I could use to mount my fill line to. It was the fill cap with the air line already in it. I also made it a little bit bigger because I was going to mount some switches on top of that as well. I planned on mounting it to the side of the bed, which I later did.
Alright, now we're filling the water tank. I stored the hose up here, so it's kind of out of the way. To be able to filter the water, I've chosen a mud water filter along with a normal water filter with it. These are used by RVs. You can pick them up at RV stores. I'll also put a link in the description about these water filters. Really happy with them. I've been using them for quite a while now, and you just never know about the water that you find out in the public. This end here I added to it. It's just from a garden hose I found at the hardware store. It gives me the ability to turn it on and off whenever I'm filling up the tank. I always like to kind of run some water through the filter first. As you saw earlier, I chose a water filled, and also I ran a vent line to kind of help out with the air whenever I'm running it inside the tank. Got a pretty steady flow go out. And then shut it off, and I'll stick this down in to that fill. Start filling the tank. I was a little bit worried at first about this design. I was afraid that maybe it wouldn't fill up very good because of the way I ran the hoses. So I checked it a couple times, and I don't really see it backing up at all the way up to when the tank's almost completely full. I'll start seeing some water start coming up through the air line, but it's been doing really good. Now, if we're going to be out camping at a location, I'll fill it all the way full. That way we can use it for showers, and we don't have to really worry about the water use that much and conserving the water. I like to only put about 5 to 10 gallons in it for just driving around town and just daily use. Just enough to have enough water if I needed it, but not have all the extra weight. As you know, with the Jeeps, we try to keep our weight down. I'll be making some more videos about our showers and all, how that works out. I'm going to test them first before I really give a review on it. Once we get the water tank filled up, I'm going to take it out and just demonstrate how it's been working for me and what we use it for. So far, it's been doing a really good job. Once we reach the full mark, we just simply shut it off. Put the cap back on, and we're good to go. As far as storing the hose, you want to make sure you get all the water out of it and not store it wet. I also will let all the water run out of the filter. I like to do this by kind of like the way we used to do it at the fire department when we used to drain hoses. Just hold it up and roll it, letting all the water out. And you're ready to store it again. Go. Go. Come on, straight. Stay. Get up. Stay. All right, I'm going to give you an update on the water system. It's been in the Jeep now for 5 months. It's been doing a great job. I've had it out to 5 different overland rallies where we've traveled to them, and it's done just as it should. I've been out camping at least 20 times over the summer, and it's been doing a great job. It's supplied me with water every time I needed it. It's been great to have it with me to fill water bottles when we're out hiking or to give the dog a drink whenever we're out doing recreation. It's just been an overall good thing to have. And I'm no different than a lot of you guys. I just watch YouTube videos. I like guy things. I'm a guy that likes to build things with my hands. I'm an entrepreneur, and it's just fun to be able to create something. So I'm going to leave the links down below on all the things I found that came in handy on this project and everything that I personally used. If you have any better ways of doing it or have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. And if you'd like and subscribe to this video, it would really help me out. And I hope to see you guys on the trail. And more or less, we just have to have fun and be safe out there. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.